Hello and welcome. You're watching our election special bulletin, Verdict 2017. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, lengthy and staggered assembly elections in UP have crossed the halfway mark in terms of the number of districts and constituencies that have voted. And the state is now gearing up for the fourth phase of elections. So what are the critical issues? How are the caste equations playing? Well, we'll get you all the details on that and much more in this bulletin. Let us start with the headlines. 61.16% voting registered in Phase 3 in Uttar Pradesh. 69 constituencies spread over 12 districts voted on Sunday. Campaigning heats up for Phase 4 of UP elections on 23rd of February. Prime Minister to address rallies in Allahabad and Jalaun. Akhilesh and Rahul to campaign in Rai Bareli. BJP releases vision document for Manipur, promises blockade-free state. Home Minister Rajnath Singh blames Congress party for current situation in the state. Well, our top focus campaigning will continue for the fourth phase of UP elections scheduled for 23rd of February. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be addressing rallies in Allahabad and Jalaun. Now, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav will also be addressing election rallies. He'll be in Rai Bareli, Amethi, Sultanpur and Faizabad districts today. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will also address 3 public rallies in Banda, Rai Bareli and Allahabad districts. Meanwhile, BJP President Amit Shah will also address a public rally for Ambedkar Nagar Assembly constituencies. Remember, 53 constituencies of Bundelkhand region is going to polls in the fourth phase. All right, let's go across to my colleague Kriti Mishra, who's joining us live from Rai Bareli. Very good afternoon, Kriti. Now, this is the VIP seat, Rai Bareli, that we are talking about, where you are in at the moment. But, you know, as far as this time is concerned, obviously Congress is in alliance with the SP this time. But it seems not all is well within the alliance, because there are a number of seats where they're contesting each other, and that includes a number of seats in Rai Bareli and Amethi as well.
Well, that's right, Aishwarya. In the citadel of Rai Bareli, which is Gandhi family's bastion, it is just not about winning seats. It's about, actually, it's a battle of prestige. Remember, the Gandhi family has maintained the winning streak in this constituency since 1967 in the Lok Sabha elections. Of course, in 1977, it lost because it was a post-emergency period to Rajnarayan of Lokdal. It was also held by the BJP briefly between 1996 and 1998. But since 2004, Congress President Sonia Gandhi is considered invincible and unassailable on this seat of Rai Bareli as far as the Lok Sabha constituency is concerned. But remember, Aishwarya, in 2012, this party was nearly decimated. It lost all the 5 seats in this Lok Sabha constituency. It was also a distant third, losing out to several parties on 3 seats. Now again, it has stitched up alliance with the Samajwadi Party, which managed to get 4 seats in 2012 assembly elections. But they are also holding friendly contests on several seats like Uchahal, like Sarni. Now, friendly contests would cause dear to both the parties. So definitely it has become cynosure of all eyes, and also because strongman Akhilesh Singh's daughter Aditi Singh would be contesting from Rai Bareli's Sadar seat.
Yes.
Now he is considered somebody who's been ruling the roost in Rai Bareli for last 25 years. So Aditi has now joined Congress. So it is a number of interesting combinations and permutations are emerging. So definitely Rai Bareli has emerged as has grabbed a lot of eyeballs in these assembly elections.
Absolutely.
Aishwarya?
So Rai Bareli is obviously one constituency which everybody looks at very closely. But my colleague Ravindra Singh Shiran is also joining us from Jhansi. Now, Ravindra, a number of districts from Bundelkhand region are going to polls as far as the fourth phase of elections are concerned. But these areas have been hit by drought, and there is an abysmal lack of basic amenities. This region generates a lot of revenue from sand mining and stone mining, but it seems it hasn't got its share of welfare. So how big is the issue of development in this region?
Aishwarya, An important issue, the drought-hit area, almost last at least 3 decades, the people of Bundelkhand region are facing severe drought. It is only the last year when the nature smiles on the people of Bundelkhand and a lot of rain could pour here, and otherwise this is a lot of problems the people of this area are facing. The fundamental issues here is the people are saying that still, even after the 70 years of independence, they are still struggling for the elementary problems they are facing.
Yes.
The government of the days failed to provide them all the facilities, which includes the education is not there properly, the employment generation is not there. But as you are saying, a lot of mining mafia is activated here. They are taking a lot of toll in the economy of here, this place also. Though this place is contributing to get benefit out of that.
All right, Ravindra, well, there seems to be a connection problem with the reporter there. Let's go across to Kriti again. Kriti, as you were telling us about this Raebareli, that is obviously it is a VIP constituency, but speaking about, UP elections in general, now, we are almost more than midway as far as the elections, 7-phase elections in Uttar Pradesh are concerned. But, at the moment, there seems to be no clear winner, in the sense there seems to be no wave at the moment, unlike we have seen sometimes in the past. So it seems that none of the main contenders, the BJP, Samajwadi Party, Congress Alliance and the BSP, can really boast of a wave as yet. What is that you are getting to, what are the feelers that you're getting from where you are in at the moment?
Well, that's right, Aishwarya. When the Congress and the Samajwadi Party had entered into alliance, there was a lot of cacophony that probably this alliance would be the front runner in Uttar Pradesh. But many say now that this alliance has actually lost the momentum. As far as the BJP is concerned, there was a lot of unhappiness, there was a lot of displeasure over the ticket distribution within the party cadre. But definitely BJP on many seats, on several seats, the feedback that we are getting has done well. And also we cannot discount BSP, because BSP has a dedicated and a loyal voter base. And there's always a certain section that would always rally behind their Behenji. Of course, that is BSP Supremo Mayawati. But as far as all the parties are concerned, if you talk to the leaders, they would claim that they've performed very brilliantly in these three phase of assembly elections. But as far as clarity is concerned, we cannot say explicitly right now that who's leading and who's trailing behind, because the voters are probably keeping their cards very close to their chest. Remember, demonetization has emerged one of the big issues in these assembly elections, where the opposition parties are targeting the BJP, the central government. But as far as the voters are concerned, they're deeply divided over the issue. There are many who hail demonetization. There are others who absolutely say that their businesses have been decimated. So this is the basic, this class, the trader class is the basic voter. They have been the voters of the BJP. So there comes the catch that whether they would actually ally with the BJP or they'll drift away from the BJP. As far as the Samajwadi is concerned, remember there's a lot of anti-incumbency factor for the Samajwadi Party, and law and order has become one issue which for which the Samajwadi Party has been constantly lambasted. So definitely all these issues, and Mayawati is promising to give a clean governance to the state of Uttar Pradesh. So definitely the voters have gone out, voted, but they are holding their cards very close to the chest. Absolutely. And it's very difficult for us to predict, to say right now that who is actually maintaining the lead right now, which party is maintaining the lead right now. Absolutely. So come 11th March, we would get a clearer picture. Aishwarya?
Absolutely. And as far as 4th phase of elections are concerned, of course, the focus has now shifted to Bundelkhand. Remember, in 2012, BSP had emerged as the #1 party. But what happens this time, we have to wait and watch. Thank you so much, Kriti, for joining us and sharing those perspectives on that issue. Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh registered a voter turnout of 61.6%. In the 3rd phase of assembly elections, 69 constituencies in 12 districts went to poll on Sunday. Here is a report. 61.16% voter turnout was recorded in the 3rd phase of the 7th phase Uttar Pradesh polls held on Sunday. Polling in this phase began slowly but picked pace later. The phase witnessed a record seizure of 38.4 crore rupees in cash and 2.04 lakh liters of liquor.
हमारा जो परसेंटेज है 61.16 आया है, लेकिन 61.16 के बाद भी हमारा क्यूज थे सीतापुर में, बाराबंकी में काफी जगह क्यूज थे। अभी तक हमको जो परसेंटेज मिला है उसमें सीतापुर लीड कर रहा है अप्रोक्सीमेटली 69.5%, और सेकंड जो है बाराबंकी 68.13%.
Polling was held for 69 assembly seats in 12 districts of Farokhabad, Mainpuri, Etawah, Hardoi, Kannauj, Kanpur Rural, Kanpur City, Unnao, Lucknow, Barabanki, Auraiya and Sitapur. In the 2012 assembly and 2014 Lok Sabha polls, the turnout in these areas was 59.96% and 58.43%, where the Samajwadi Party won 55 of these 69 seats, while the BSP, BJP and Congress bagged 6, 5 and 2 seats respectively.
मैं चाहता हूँ जो करप्शन बहुत फैला हुआ है यहाँ पे वो खत्म हो, अच्छे आदमी को वोट दिया जाए, जैसी भारत सरकार करे, यही मेरा
सब फैक्टर्स होने चाहिए, विकास, एटीट्यूड, सब चीज का ओवरऑल एक असेसमेंट करते हैं, तो उसमें जो कमियां खूबियां वो सब देख के फिर वोट देते हैं.
गुड गवर्नेंस हमें चाहिए, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर और सफाई. हम बहुत परेशान हैं पिछले 5 साल से, अपने इलाके में गंदगी बहुत बढ़ गई है और सेफ्टी का थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है.
डेवलपमेंट, वुमेन सेफ्टी तो फर्स्ट वो क्राइटेरिया है, क्योंकि सुरक्षित होनी चाहिए महिलाएं. कहीं भी जाएं हम लोग 7-8 बजे के बाद सुरक्षित नहीं महसूस करते हैं, तो वो सुरक्षा बहुत जरूरी है.
The polling percentage was 64.2 in the first phase of the ongoing election and 66% in the second phase. The next 4 phases of polling will be held on 23rd and 27th of February and on 4th and 8th of March. Counting of votes will take place on 11th of March. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, while there was a considerable voter turnout, there was also the other end of the story because a poll boycott. People at 2 polling booths in Auraiya decided not to vote in protest of lack of development. Also nearly no vote cast in Rasulabad and Bhognipur of Kanpur Dehat. 6 and 1 vote cast respectively.
औरैया में 111-12 बूथ में डेवलपमेंटल इश्यूज को लेके वोट्स कास्ट नहीं हुआ. फिर रसूलाबाद, कानपुर देहात में भी रोड और डेवलपमेंट इश्यूज को लेके सिर्फ 6 वोट कास्ट किया गया है, और कानपुर देहात में भोगनीपुर है जिसमें डेवलपमेंट इश्यूज को लेके सिर्फ 1 वोट कास्ट हुआ है.
Meanwhile, campaigning for the 4th phase of UP elections continued on Sunday. Well, Akhilesh Yadav and Rahul Gandhi addressed a joint election rally in Jhansi and once again attacked the Prime Minister Narendra Modi over demonetization, saying that people will take revenge with the BJP in these elections. While addressing the rally in drought-hit Bundelkhand region, Akhilesh also claimed the work done by his government during drought as no relief was sent by the centre. Meanwhile, at a rally in Nepal-bound Fatehpur, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterated his promise of waiving off farmers' loans if elected to power.
परेशानी में पानी बांटने की बात आई थी, टैंकर भिजवाने की बात आई थी, तो सोचो अच्छे दिन वालों ने आपके लिए ट्रेन खाली भिजवाई थी, कुछ पानी नहीं था उसके अंदर. हम समाजवादियों ने तो गांव-गांव टैंकर पहुंचा करके मदद की थी. हम तो पूछना चाहते हैं कि ट्रेन भिजवा करके आपने कौन सी बुंदेलखंड की मदद की थी?
पहले मुस्कुराहट होती थी, अब मुस्कुराहट गायब हो गई है. आते हैं, स्पीच देते हैं, मगर जानते हैं कि जो हाल बिहार में हुआ था वो अब उत्तर प्रदेश में होने वाला है. 11 मार्च को नतीजे आएंगे, 2-4 दिन में शपथ हो जाएगा, नई सरकार बन जाएगी और उसकी पहली मीटिंग होगी. मैं आपको वादा करता हूं उस पहली मीटिंग में ही किसानों के कर्ज नाबूदी का निर्णय करवा दूंगा.
Now, the Congress is looking for a strong show in its stronghold Rai Bareli. Represented by party chief Sonia Gandhi, the constituency has a familiar presence in Priyanka Gandhi. So, will the conventional issues like roads, local infrastructure, education and employment still play a role in these elections? Well, Panjanat Mishra brings us this report.
Widely known as VIP constituency, Rai Bareli has been the pocket borough of the first family of the Congress. The seat was once held by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and now Congress President Sonia Gandhi. But all that hasn't really helped for the local residents in this 5 assembly segment. The VIP constituency is still awaiting better roads and improved hospitals. And with the politicians and administration looking other way, the complaints are only increasing. This time though, demonetization of the 500 and 1000 rupees currency notes has added further to the problems.
नोटबंदी का असर तो बहुत है, क्योंकि छोटे तबके का आदमी जो गांव में है, आज तक बैंकों में पैसा नहीं पहुंचा है, वो गांव की पब्लिक बहुत परेशान है इस बीच।
काम की हालत, सड़कों की हालत बहुत ज्यादा खराब है। चुनावी जो वादे किए जाते हैं वो कहीं से भी 1% पूरे नहीं होते, चाहे कोई भी विधायक हो।
Job creation has taken a nosedive with several industrial units and factories being shut.
कंपनियां बंद है, यहाँ पे मजदूर भी रोड पे घूम रहा है और उसमें काम करने के लिए रोटी के लिए तरस रहा है और उसमें कंपनियां जो थी उसमें सब बंद पड़ी हुई हैं।
हम लोग का बहुत मुश्किल है, न पैसे कमा नहीं पाते, इसलिए कि फैक्ट्री बंद के कारण हम लोग यहाँ के जितने भी निवासी सबको बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है।
Raebareli did benefit during the Congress-led UPA era with projects like a rail coach factory, National Institute of Fashion Technology being announced, but all that is in the past. In the 2012 UP Assembly polls, the Congress failed to bag even a single seat in the 5 Assembly segments within the Lok Sabha segment. This time, Congress workers are banking on Priyanka Gandhi's long association with the people of constituency to register a strong performance.
कांग्रेस अब की बार पूरी तरह से मुकाबले में है। जनता का रुझान भी कांग्रेस के प्रति बड़ा अनुकूल है। उसका कारण है क्योंकि उसने 2012 में रायबरेली की जनता ने कांग्रेस के विधायकों को नहीं चुना, तो उन्होंने यह एहसास भी किया कि कहीं न कहीं इससे सोनिया जी के द्वारा जो जनपद के विकास की जो एक प्रक्रिया है वो बाधित होती है।
In 2012, the Samajwadi Party won 4 out of 5 seats in Raebareli. One went to an independent. But this time round, after finalizing an alliance with the Samajwadi Party, Congress workers may have a reason to be optimistic about their chances. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in verdict 2017, we'll take a very short break. Up next, we have all the news from poll-bound Manipur. Stay with us.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates some message of wisdom.
Welcome back. News from Manipur. Well, a total of 168 candidates are in the fray for the first phase of elections to be held in Manipur on 4th of March. Well, 38 assembly constituencies vote in the first phase. Well, BJP is fielding candidates in all the 38 seats. Congress has put up 37 candidates and there are 14 independents. Now, most of the constituencies will see straight fights. However, 11 candidates are in the fray in Sakul constituency. Well, the two-phase election for the 60-member assembly will be held on 4th of March and 8th of March, and the results will be declared on 11th of March. Staying with Manipur, well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh released his party's vision document for poll-bound Manipur on Sunday. Well, the 24-page document stressed on raising a highway protection force for ensuring a blockade-free Manipur. Well, BJP's promises come in the wake of indefinite economic blockade imposed by the United Naga Council since November last year against the state government's decision to carve off 7 new districts. Well, the BJP also promised to investigate fake encounter and corruption cases. Well, the manifesto also promised to provide piped drinking water to every household, all-weather 4-lane roads in every district as well.
ट्राइपार्टाइट डायलॉग तो हो गया, उन लोगों को भी समझाने की कोशिश की, सबको समझाने की कोशिश की, इनको मैंने फोर्स दिया। अब यहां की गवर्नमेंट फोर्स को कोई आदेश देने को तैयार ही नहीं है। मुझे लगता है कहीं ना कहीं पॉलिटिकल कॉन्स्पिरेसी है। कहीं न कहीं पॉलिटिकल कॉन्स्पिरेसी।
And the Home Minister also accused the state government of failing to provide law and order situation in the state of Manipur. He also refuted Congress's allegations that the BJP was working to jeopardize Manipur's territorial integrity after it signed the framework agreement with the NSCN-IM by saying that the state government was trying to fool people by spreading rumours. He also lashed out at Chief Minister Okram Ibobi Singh for failing to provide basic necessities like electricity and drinking water facilities to the people of the state, despite ruling it for 15 years. Remember, Manipur is facing an indefinite economic blockade imposed by the United Naga Council since November last year against the state government's decision of creating 7 new districts.
प्राइमरी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को कंट्रोल करना यह रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसी की होती है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की होती है। यह कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑब्लिगेशन यह स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का होता है लॉ एंड ऑर्डर कंट्रोल करना। मैंने कहा जो भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा आपको असिस्टेंस चाहिए वो हम असिस्टेंस प्रोवाइड करने को तैयार हैं। यहां तक कि सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेज हम लोगों ने उनको प्रोवाइड की, लेकिन बराबर यह कहा जाता यहां आप वहां जाकर कुछ बोलते थे, यहां आकर कहते थे सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कुछ नहीं करेगी।
Well, the economic blockade has cast a shadow on the upcoming polls in Manipur. Now, watching developments carefully is the majority Meitei community, who too feel that they should have been consulted before the state government's decision to create the new districts. Well, here is the RSTV's ground report.
This is Pheng, inhabited by Meitei. Earlier a part of Imphal West, it is now part of the newly formed Kangpokpi district. And all are not happy with that decision.
ये कांगपोकपी में जाने तो हम लोग को बहुत नुकसान होगा, मतलब वो तो दूर है। इम्फाल वेस्ट तो ये नजदीक है, सामने सामने है। लेकिन हम लोग ये जगह को हम लोग पहले 1932 में हम लोग का दरबार में हम लोग को दिया है। देने के बाद में हम लोग को करके हम लोग अभी रिजर्व करके हम लोग अभी भी कंट्रोल कर रहा है। कंट्रोल करने के बाद में वो लोग अभी बोला है वो लोग कांगपोकपी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जाने तो हम लोग का बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है।
I do feel that it is not only among the Nagas, it is even among other communities, you know. If it is really meant for administrative convenience, then let's do it properly, taking into account of the interests and rights of the ethnic communities.
Meiteis are the majority ethnic group of Manipur, accounting to over 60% of the state's total population, but inhabiting just over 30% of the land. Pheng being accommodated to Kangpokpi district is one of the few tales of discontent being heard across many Meitei villages.
From this particular village to Imphal is around 11-12 kilometers. Then you see now this village is under Kangpokpi district. The villagers to get a signature of the SDC or any DC or somebody, they have to go to Imphal first, then from Imphal they will go another 45 kilometers. That will come around 60 kilometers, you know. So if it is for administrative convenience, why they have to go 65 kilometers?
By Buddha 1932 da Darbarna koi piramba koi lam area mayam asi yaw grabudi koi district pidabu kang samok sibu gidana koi thingna.
The Manipur government had in December 2016 issued a notification to create 7 new districts by bifurcating the existing ones, taking the total number of districts to 16. While the Nagas are protesting in the form of the economic blockade which has strangled the state, the Meiteis have been less vocal. But it would be wrong to presume this would not affect their votes for the current Ibobi government.
We are totally against any kind of division based on ethnic lines. So like right now, as I've already told you, there must be an agenda which must be acceptable by every stakeholder in the state.
Every community in Manipur is divided on this issue. It will be interesting to see that what is the number of those who are happy with this decision of division or who are unhappy with the decision. This will decide the future of which party makes the government in the coming assembly elections. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Sudhanshu in a village near Imphal.
On to some other news now. The CPIM has asked BJP to come clear on its spending on rallies for the ongoing assembly polls. While speaking to reporters in the national capital, CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri also claimed that winds of change are blowing across the country as he sought to suggest a favourable poll outcome for the opposition parties in the assembly elections. He also took a jibe at the centre's budgetary proposal of restricting cash donations to political parties from individuals to 2,000 rupees and introducing electoral bond schemes to cleanse a funding system, saying that the reforms are merely eyewash. He said that the reforms will rather give an opening for money laundering, for no one will know who are the ones who are giving and buying the bonds except the government. And let's take a look at some other election-related developments in Polpuri. The Congress party is planning to lodge a complaint with the Election Commission against Prime Minister Narendra Modi over an alleged communal statement made at a poll rally in Fatehpur in Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Modi had yesterday said that if electricity is supplied during Ramzan, then it should also be supplied during Diwali. Uttarakhand Congress has demanded action against the BJP for violating the Model Code of Conduct by organising a rally in Haridwar's Rishikul grounds on 10th of February, claiming that they had no permission. A delegation of party leaders met a state chief electoral officer and submitted a memorandum. In the memorandum, the party claimed that case has been registered against Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and Chief Minister Harish Rawat, but no such action was taken against the BJP. BSP has fielded the widow of its Karnaprayag candidate Kuldeep Kumar Kanwasi, whose death in a road accident led to the postponement of the elections in the seat in Uttarakhand on 9th of March. Now, Kanwasi died in a road mishap 3 days before the state assembly polls on 15th of February. Well, as per law, if candidates of a recognized party die, it is countermanded and the party is given time to field a new candidate and polling is fixed for a new date. Well, that's it from me and my team in this edition of Verdict 2017. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Thanks for watching.